Have you ever thrown a Pokeball in a Pokemon game and asked yourself, how exactly do these things work? Well, I just got done deep diving that question and I realized Pokeballs are one of the most sinister contraptions in all of fiction. We're going to go into the how and the why of Pokeballs, why they're the stuff of nightmares, and at the end, we'll figure out what exactly that has to do with Ditto. Don't get me wrong, I love my Pokemon. But as we get to the end, you'll come to the same conclusion that I did, that these are horrible, and if my childhood had to be ruined, then so does yours. And if you want to share it with your friends to ruin theirs, then we can all go down on this ship together. To start off, let's go over how Pokeballs work. When you throw a Pokeball at a Pokemon, it transforms that Pokemon into a state of pure energy, compressing them into an ethereal form, somehow leaving behind their physical body and putting them into a suspended state inside the Pokeball. Seems innocent enough, but when you're capturing a Pokemon, the reason they're able to escape is because of their will. They do not wish to be captured. It is their literal willpower to be free that breaks them out of the Pokeball. So, as we all know all too well, the only way to catch a Pokemon is you have to literally beat down their will to be free until they basically give up or cannot overpower the Pokeball anymore and become captured. To make matters worse, they get stuck in whatever state you captured them in. So if you whittled that Pokemon down to 1 HP and they're paralyzed, they are still with 1 HP and paralyzed. But the energy construct of the Pokeball also prevents them from being able to heal naturally over time. They are stuck with those injuries permanently. But what makes this even more horrible is it stops healing, but it does not stop their ability to suffer from those injuries. And we know that's a fact because if your Pokemon is poisoned or affected by a toxin, it literally suffers with every single step that you take until it faints. And since we're able to know that, we can also assume that anything else like poison, paralysis, burns, frozen statuses, they are feeling the full effects of every one of those at all times and not able to heal from it naturally. That's like being stuck with third-degree burns all over your body and never healing but feeling all the pain. And we aren't even to the worst part yet. Let's move on to my next point. The Pokemon that get sent to the PC. Let's be honest, the only ones we took to the Poke Center are the ones that we captured because we wanted to add it to our team. The ones that we whittled down and only caught them to add them to our Pokédex, or because we wanted to collect a shiny, get sent to the PC and left in whatever injured state we put upon them forever. But what about Pokemon that get lost or forgotten? And what happens when a Pokeball runs out of power? Pokeballs have to have energy of some kind to be able to take a physical Pokemon and transform it and condense it into an energy-based creature. So what happens when it runs out of power? We're going to figure all of this out right now. So, in realistic terms, if a Pokemon were to be left in a PC and you forgot about them, they could be stuck there basically for all time, or until whoever runs those PCs decides to go through and do something with all of them, but let's assume they never do that. Those Pokemon are left inside those Pokeballs in an animated state, just suffering for all eternity, going mad, stuck in an energy state inside this tiny little construct with nothing to do. Never being brought out to interact with other people or Pokemon, never being brought out to be healed. They are literally stuck for eternity with 1 HP and a slap of paralysis on their forehead because we just wanted to make numbers go up in our Pokédex. So that's potential horrible fate number 1. But now let's move on to horrible fate number 2. Pokeballs get tossed around and thrown all over the place, right? And things get damaged. Things not only get damaged, but they get broken. Things not only get broken, but they sometimes malfunction. These are all things that happen to our technology on a daily basis, and it's fair to assume that Pokeballs are not immune to any of these. So what happens under those circumstances? What happens when we throw our Pokeball and it hits a rock or something else, or it's just been thrown one too many times, and it breaks? Not only breaking, but breaking specifically the mechanism that actually transforms the Pokemon back from an energy-based state into a physical state. If that's broken, does their energy just float away? Like into the cosmos? Is this how the Pokemon from Pokemon Tower exist? Their Pokeballs break and their energy-based form just floats off and finds its way to this tower, where they're unable to reform into their physical identities anymore and are basically just stuck in an energy-based, non-decaying state for the rest of time? Now let's talk about malfunctions. Everything stops working from time to time, or even worse, works in ways it's not supposed to. Does it reform our Pokemon improperly? Do we get a chimera version of a Pokemon, missing limbs in the wrong spots, or all kinds of other strange and distorted configurations? Or, hear me out, this is how Dittos are made. When a Pokeball malfunctions and you throw it out and it attempts to reform the Pokemon, for whatever reason, either the data that actually keeps how to reform it into its original form is gone, or it just malfunctions completely, and it just forms in a blank blob of raw Pokemon DNA that has no physical identity to attach itself to. That's a Ditto. These Pokemon have lost the complete physical structure of who they once were, and all that remains is the pool of Pokemon DNA that is now begging for some kind of structure to be able to turn into, because it's currently just stuck in a state that can transform into anything. That's why Ditto is able to copy any Pokemon and the moveset that they have. It's hopelessly begging for an opportunity to retake some form of identifiable physical shape. Yikes! Now, wild Dittos are probably just that actually happening and the trainers becoming so terrified that they run and leave their Pokemon behind. These Dittos then become wild, hopelessly wandering around searching for their physical body or a way to reshape themselves into it. Then we come along, a new trainer that says, hey, look at that, a wild Ditto. We throw our Pokeball and capture it, and the Pokeball now thinks that this cellular blob of formless DNA is what it's actually supposed to be like. So we basically remove its ability to ever become what it was originally, and now it is permanently stuck as a Ditto because of us, the trainer. That actually breaks my heart a little bit. That's a pretty horrible fate. And an honorable mention here is in Detective Pikachu. We know that Pokeballs, just like Pokebattles, were banned. They were removed from Rhyme City, which leads us to believe that they were considered to be inhumane on the same level as Pokemon battles themselves were. If you can get behind some of these ideas and realize that what we did with those Pokeballs is actually kind of messed up, then hit the like and subscribe button for me. I got a lot more pop culture, what if, deep dives, lore, and more coming, so make sure you stick around, and I hope you enjoy the videos. See y'all in the next one.